All right, so this was the ultimate step up in class game for both the Cowboys offense and the 49ers defense. Allegedly, neither unit had played a quote unquote top 10 caliber unit, even though I consider the Rams a lot better than most people. But anyway, the way that people talked about this game, the 49ers came into this game with, they were 30th in rushing success rate. They were 30th in EPA per rush. So that means they're giving up a bunch of big runs. And Dallas was supposed to be able to run the ball all over them. As you can see, that did not happen on the first play. But it's plays like this where you can't take advantage of Fred Warner on a tight end. Obviously, these are the two best linebackers in the NFL. I don't think that's debatable. But the awareness that those two have, like the margin for error that you have in your passing game, just does not exist. 49ers are top 3 in dropback EPA per pass. That is because, look at the bottom of the screen. This is CeeDee Lamb. This is Deommodore Lenoir. He is, Lenoir, in the top 10 in EPA per target because of, like, he's just in the hip pocket of everybody nonstop. So I want to go through a few plays that sit out. Obviously, the 49ers, their superstars made plays. But I just thought the Cowboys quarterback got a little tunnel vision. So we're going to show a couple plays where he missed, obviously like this one, and then the D-line just being the D-line. So let's get into it. All right, so EPA, expected points added, per target. The 49ers have 3 players in the top 10 in the NFL. Would you guess who number 1 is? Your first inclination would probably be either Fred Warner, or Tyler Screen, kind of in the screen, Mooney Ward. But the answer is Dre Greenlaw. He is number 3, and that is among all positions. Not only is he much better in coverage this year, he is a tone setter. That, like, over the course of the game, he had some hits where you're like, dear God, man. And the Cowboys over the course of the game, they made some business decisions where, like, I'm not getting hit. Like, I don't want anything to do with 57. But early in the game, I feel like the 49ers established themselves. They set the tone with hits like these, and they were the hammer, and the Cowboys were the nail. All right, it's 3rd and 3. 49ers, they're not going to bring anybody. Man-to-man across the board. Mooney Ward, CeeDee Lamb. You have Tayshaun Gibson, who, by the way, is a freaking baller. He's very good. He has been, I don't want to say a pleasant surprise because he was good last year, but I think he's better than last year. Like, he's giving them an actual coverage player. Isaiah Oliver, Deommodore Lenoir. So man-to-man across the board. Dre Greenlaw's back out. Low hole player. Best linebacker in the game. And then Talanoa Funga, he's going to play center field. Only rush 4, 3rd and 3. And this is where you're wondering, like, Dallas, what are you doing? Like, they I don't know what their game plan was. This 3rd and 3, they're running all routes to the sticks, which is the easiest thing in the world to cover. Bottom of the screen, we have all slants? What? When we're watching, if you watch the film of the 49ers offense yesterday, 3rd and 2, Juwan Jennings running 20 yards down the field. Like, there are routes 10, 12, 15 yards beyond the line to gain. Whereas, nobody's open here. Look, watch what Mooney Ward does to CeeDee Lamb. He can't get off the line of scrimmage. Fred Warner knows, I'm going to take away the second window where Dak wants to go. And then when you just don't have time. Like, that's not an option to be able to go through from one side of the field to the other against this defensive line. No, sir. So let's watch Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa. Good luck. Okay, so this is Zach Martin. And in this game, leading up, all you would hear about was, hey, the Cowboys got their offensive line back. They have Zach Martin. They have Tyron Smith. It's going to be tough for these guys. It's funny when people kind of talk themselves into analysis. Like the 49ers defensive line all of a sudden wasn't going to be able to get pressure. So let's only focus. Let's ignore this monster over here. Let's see what Eric Armstead does. So Zach Martin, one of the best guards of my lifetime, just getting embarrassed right there. Half sack for Armstead, but I think what's really impressive here, and by the way, he is all the way back, and I think this game was, like, his motor was really impressive this game. So sometimes defensive linemen, and maybe it's happening on the other side, when they make contact or when they're making a move, their feet stop. That doesn't happen with Bosa here. He's gaining ground nonstop. That poor right tackle doesn't have a chance. Sack. Team sack, covered sack. That's how you play team defense. The very next play, obviously, change of possession. Sometimes you just have to have your superstars make plays to get off the field. And that's exactly what happens. So, Dallas tries to run the ball because, remember, 49ers, they quote-unquote can't stop the run. And punch, peanut punch, he has mastered that. Ball, watch Lenore's left foot, left calf, hits off his left calf. So you get just one of the luckiest, most fortuitous bounces of all time. Stays in bounds twice. Kevin Givens, fumble recovery, Niners ball. I know McCaffrey fumbled, but let's be honest. That is not something that is sustainable. But I feel like these forced fumbles are. So just another turnover backbreaker for Dallas. And, I mean, their best players, 49ers, like they step up and make a play. All right, so when I say the Cowboys didn't have a plan, it was those toss plays, the run play that Fred Warner just forced a fumble on. It was like something right at the sticks, passing concept right at the sticks, like the all slants where everybody's covered, or just heave it deep. And I actually like this play call from an offensive perspective. You're backed up in your own end zone. Why not take a shot? You might get a flag, but based on what you've seen over the course of like the last 2 years, when has number 7 ever gotten beaten deep? Like Michael, if you're going to take a shot with Lamb or maybe Brandon Cooks, because those are like speedier guys, sure, but like Michael Gallup's more of a build-up speed. Like he's not going to run by Ward. That's easy for him. The fact that he has time to just kind of turn around, find the ball, and now he's the receiver, gets a hand up. Man. From this view, quietly having a very productive season. So Javon Kinlaw is in the top 15 for like win percentage as an interior defensive lineman, which is like, anybody would take that, right? So I believe he's 13th. He's just quick. And we'll see from the end zone angle. They might have got away with a little bit of a hold here. And holding in the end zone should be 2 points. All right, different angle. Let's check it out. He's grabbing. All right, so from this angle, watch just the left guard. He grabs Kinlaw by the waist, right there. Like he's holding him twice. He's in the end zone. That's 2 points. That's a safety. Very fortunate that the back steps up and blocks Kinlaw, because it would have definitely been a safety, but it should have been a safety anyway. Again, you get pressure, even though he didn't affect the play, but great coverage there by Ward. All right, it's 3rd and 2. Another Mike McCarthy special. So Cowboys are going to bring CeeDee Lamb in motion there, and they're going to run mesh. So mesh is when one receiver comes across the middle on a shallow, and then one receiver from the other side of the line of scrimmage comes across on a shallow. They are going to mesh. One's going to be a little bit higher. More than likely, the bigger receiver is going to try to pick off one of these inside linebackers, so the quicker wide receiver comes free. And then Brandon Cooks is going to be the over-the-ball route. So if neither of these two come open, Dak has somebody to throw to right in his line of vision because he's just staring down the middle of the field. So far this season, there haven't been many quote-unquote holy shit plays from the 49ers defense. This qualifies. This is one of the best plays that I have seen this season from any player, any position. So watch how Fred Warner blows the mesh up. I've never seen anybody jump in front of the mesh like this. And so he takes away one route, knows that he's not going to get picked. So by the way, Oliver's he's in a tough spot by alignment because he has to go in motion with him. So he's trailing right now. This hypothetically should be wide open for CeeDee Lamb. But because the linebacker has the wherewithal to jump in front of and look right away, Oliver's in phase. So Warner doesn't stop there. And I think that's what makes this play so impressive. He has the awareness to go after the quarterback. So I would say, and I'm sure one of the coaches told him this, you're never supposed to jump when you're blitzing. Don't jump, don't jump, don't. You always hear coaches yell that at whoever the blitzer is, but it works. That is next level. That's about as good as it gets. I don't even know how to describe that. So within a matter of 2 seconds, 3 seconds, Warner blows up the mesh, takes away the read, and sacks the freaking quarterback. And Dallas has to punt. So horrible play call, by the way, by Mike McCarthy. But even if it was right, even if CeeDee Lamb does come open, Warner blows it up. Again, you just need your players to make plays sometimes, and the 49ers have a superstar that just made a play. So I don't think the 49ers role players get enough credit, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mentioned how well he's played, Tayshaun Gibson. Here's an Oren Burks. So again, the Cowboys, they have 3 plays so far. They're running everybody deep, they're going to run everybody short, or they're going to run some kind of toss play. Here's how the toss play works. That's how it looks. But if you just watch, as soon as the ball snapped, the way that he's triggering, the way that he's firing towards the ball, that is impressive. So he's not going to let anybody get outside of him. They're going to crack the defensive end, and that takes away the 49ers' edge support. That takes away their force player out there. I imagine he recognizes the crack, gives him a crack call. Crackback block means that he's just going to block down on the defensive end. Burks knows that. Now he understands, I have to be the player to force the run to go back inside. Job well done. And then if you just watch Gibson on this play, he was supposed to get cracked too. Doesn't work. I think their intensity, their intent, how fast they play, how physical they play is impossible to simulate in practice. And Dallas found out the hard way. I'm sure in practice, he was able to block whoever the safety was, right, against the scout team. But I think Gibson just kept played through the whistle. 2 of your role players making tackles for loss. That's how team defense works. So there was probably 5 quote-unquote bad plays. And this is just the Cowboys playing on Warner's aggressiveness. So man-to-man coverage across the board again. You got Warner split out over number 2. Here he is right here. And they're just going to run what the 49ers run. They're going to run a return route. So the wide receiver acts like he's going inside. Warner sees that. He's going to overplay it. And then he comes back out. Big play, 3rd down, want to get off the field. And they go at your best coverage player, and they get a 1st down. As a defense, tackle him, make them do it again, right? It's not the end of the world. I think, especially fans, if this were a close game, they probably would have been a little bit upset. But you just get him on the ground, live for another down. If you look at everybody else, since we're looking at process, not results, the coverage is there. Isaiah Oliver is in the slot guarding CeeDee Lamb. Watch Oliver. He's where he needs to be. Everybody else is covered. Warner just overplays it. Happens. All right, so the tone. I talk about intent a lot. His intent is probably up there with anybody that I've seen in the league. The way that he plays with force, you can see their head rock. It is insane. And that's why I say the Cowboys receivers over the course of the game made business decisions. A lot of it is because 57. Just watch him accelerate. So this is an incomplete pass. It looks like he caught the ball, but because of the force, running backs not able to hold on to the ball. So that goes from 1st and 10. It could have been 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4. Instead, it's 2nd and 10. Watch his acceleration from this angle. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, Greenlaw is playing at another level right now. So I imagine most teams are going to do this as, we get closer to the playoffs, as teams kind of figure out, who can and can't cover. They're going to put their best receiver in the slot, and they're going to pick on Isaiah Oliver. I just showed a play where Oliver is in position. He's doing a good job. So it's 2nd and long. This is the very next play. He has just a simple stop route against CeeDee Lamb. It's not the end of the world. Curls and slants aren't going to beat you, which makes Dallas's game plan, offensive game plan, even more hilarious. But this is a play where you can see the separation. You can see the difference in athleticism. You can see what happens when Oliver has to go against a quote-unquote top-tier wide receiver. I'm not sure that he will be able to do that over the course of a game. And I think Dallas kind of understood, and that's when they picked on Oliver back-to-back plays. All right, so the very next play, this is the touchdown. And this is a tough cover for anybody. Right there, he's already toast. Oliver would have to, so I understand I imagine he has to protect his inside. Yeah, they don't have help anywhere. All right, so very next play. You have Oliver in the slot to the bottom of the screen. Like right there, he's toast, right? If we're even, we're leaving, is what they say. And this player is very fast, and that's just not Oliver's strength. They catch him on a corner route, deep touchdown. Ideally, he has help over the middle, and he's playing outside leverage. I think that's what Tayshaun Gibson's doing. Nope, head up. Yeah, he just gets beat. I don't know what else to say. Ideally, he's squared up. He's able to get some kind of hand on him to slow him down, but it's a track meet, and I'm pretty sure Turpin's a burner. So just a tough matchup in that situation. But if teams are going to throw the ball against the 49ers, it's going to probably come against 26. And that's definitely something to keep an eye on as the season goes along. This is what we call a business decision. You cannot tell me out of his peripherals, 20 did not see 57 coming. And you know how I know? Because watch Dre after the fact. So ball is behind him. It would be a tough catch, but he's peeking. He knows, and he's already been hit by him. He's already been slammed by him. No thanks. And watch him point. Yeah, he knows. He knows. So business decision, number one. And that's when you know, the Cowboys, they're not in it. They don't want this. That's tough. I know the whole sideline screaming at him too. All right, so this is just before the 2-minute warning. It's 21-7. The game's not over. You would think the Cowboys would have more urgency, but these next two plays pretty much sum up what the Cowboys were trying to do. So this is one where, again, it's either all or nothing. All short or all deep. These are the routes where everybody's short. Look at the picture right now. Everybody's within, 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. What are we doing here? Two routes stacked on each other. Another route coming into the middle. I guess you would want to go here, but this is where the tunnel vision comes. This is what happens when you get pressure. This is what happens when you're not confident in what you're seeing. He's not looking anywhere else but over the middle of the field. That's tunnel vision. And this is where the receivers are going to get hammered. Man. Close to being a hospital ball. All right, we have 50 seconds left in the half. Cowboys, 21-7. They have a chance. They're going to take a shot deep. Remember, their offense is all or nothing. So we have trips to the top of the screen. A couple years ago, Rich Sherman told me that the 49ers have a check in their defense. And that check is basically Fred Warner takes whoever the number 3 wide receiver is. 1, 2, 3. Cowboys are going to run a little switch release. We talked about that a little bit on the offensive film. So he has to recognize who the new number 3 is. Right now it's CeeDee Lamb, but as you can see after the release, it's Brandon Cooks. So 1, 2, 3. In a perfect world, Hufanga gets over the top sooner because there are no other vertical threats. Gibson is able to sink because this wide receiver eliminates himself, but that doesn't happen, and that's okay because the 49ers have a linebacker who can run with a 4-3 wide receiver down the field. I think what makes this so impressive is, he's not turned, Brandon Cooks is a full-on dead sprint. He's kind of shuffling. His shoulders are not pointing in the same direction Cooks' are. Insane athleticism. First of all, this is a very difficult task. Other teams aren't asking their linebackers to do this. The Ravens, they put a lot on Roquan Smith's plate, but not to this degree. We're watching a Hall of Famer at work. There's no other way to put it, right? This is a special player who's being asked to do a lot, and he is owning every responsibility that he has. So for Fred Warner, so the ball's on the 25-yard line. Dak lets it go. The ball lands on the other 20, and he's there. He's exactly where you need to be. The ball would have had to be perfectly placed, like thrown on time, for this to be a completion. And again, the probability, the odds of this being completion are so low, which again, Mike McCarthy, LOL. But this is all Warner right here. Just incredible that he's able to do this week in and week out. He did it last week with Hollywood Brown. He probably does it every week. What a play. Okay, so my plan on getting a receiver against a linebacker didn't work. What am I going to do on the next play? You see there's CeeDee Lamb coming across the middle. That was the intention. However, 49ers paid a defensive tackle a lot of money this past offseason for situations just like this. Doesn't get the sack, but you cause the quarterback to drop his eyes, and now your teammate gets a sack. And when I say tunnel vision, I understand that Hargrave wins. Like, he is a phenomenal player in his own right. But there's no way, if you've just been paying attention in this game alone, this is the first half still, that you scramble with what 57 has done so far. Does he not know? What are you doing? Throw the ball away. Throw it anywhere else. You're not going to be able to outrun this guy. Nobody has. Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know what the plan was, what the process was. But we can talk about Hargrave. He goes 1, 2, 3 gaps over. Almost gets a sack, but Greenlaw is there because he's everywhere. All right, start of third quarter. Still 21-7. Still ball game. The Cowboys just had a big play. Dak scrambled. He hit CeeDee Lamb on a scramble drill. Not much, Mooney Ward could do. So here we are. 1st and 10. And in my mind, this is the sequence that ended the game. Cowboys had just picked up a big play. As I mentioned, this is their shot to make it a game again. What do? They run the ball. It's 1st and 10. At Nick Bosa. What? Watch the tight end. Like, just watch the shock. Bosa. Just completely resets him. Plays dead. Watch. This is what are you doing? He resets him. Guard pulls. Because of that, now he can't climb. So now Dre Greenlaw is able to come down. He takes him fullback. Plays dead. Plays over. What are we thinking here, Mike McCarthy? So this is 1st and 10, right? You have a chance, but now you're facing 2nd and 11. All right, you throw the ball, pick up a decent-sized gain. Now it's 3rd and 4. And mind you, this is a game where the 49ers, they're throwing it on 3rd and 14, 3rd and 2, whatever. To me, this is just Dallas essentially tucking their tail between their legs because they don't trust their quarterback after what he's done so far. Whatever the reasoning is, you can't call a run on this play. There's just no way. Not the way that the night is going. We've seen the run plays. There's been nothing there. So Hargrave splits a double team, makes a play. And again, this is where you just need your guys, your best players, to make plays. 98, the quote-unquote bad run defender, right? Just makes a play. And Dallas attempts a 50-plus yard field goal, whatever it is at this point. So it was 21-7. And now they make it 21-10. What is that field goal going to do for you here? At this point, think about what the 49ers did. Like, score. Sorry, 28-10. Even worse. So they made a 3-possession game. That is as inept as it gets. You just can't do that. Not against like a championship caliber team. Maybe that works against the lesser opponents on the schedule, but you haven't stopped them. So what makes you think you're going to do it now? That was ball game, effectively. Last and certainly not least, Dak and his 3 picks. So this one, I don't know what he sees. And maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. I'm confused. Because look at when he lets the ball go. By the way, nice blitz by Tyler Novafunga off the edge. And, of course, Javon Hargrave doing what he does. Oh, no, that's Kevin Givens with a win. Nice. All right. Top of the screen is where the ball's supposed to be. Remember I said if we're even, we're leaving. That's when you're 10 yards down the field. What are we doing? does he just not acknowledge that there's a middle of the field safety here? Like this comes off as a punt. The wide receiver just has no chance. And it's Cook, so he's fast. I understand why he threw the ball like forever, but Lord, man. And the game's over at this point, right? 28-10, trying to get all back in one play. Just not going to work. So, Gibson gets a chance to pad his stats a little bit. Again, he's been phenomenal this year, in my opinion. Doesn't have the stats to back it up, so hopefully like plays like this down the line will help him get the recognition he deserves. But Kevin Givens gets after the quarterback, and then we can see Hufanga. Nice. Yeah, just good team defense, but a horrific throw and decision at this point in the game. So if that last throw was he's down there somewhere meme, this, like Deommodore Lenoir gets all the credit for this. This is very impressive as far as just the technique goes. So, see a lot of times where, bottom of the screen by the way, cornerbacks just give up way too much ground off the release. Like they think the way the wide receiver comes off the line, he's going to give ground. But it's just a nice little inch back step. Stay square. Doesn't open up. Doesn't overreact. Gets a hand on, which is legal. And then, so you see a lot of times where cornerbacks will do this long swim move and like they're late and they're not able to make a pass breakup. Here, Lenoir, it's like a jab, right? It's poke. And the ball just caroms right into the hands of who else? Johnny on the spot. But honestly, like the coverage itself. And this is why Lenoir is in the top 10 EPA per target. Like he's not giving up big plays. He's going to earn himself a nice little extension here if he keeps this up. All right, next possession. I'm sure this one's going to turn out different. Starter. Tyron Smith's in. Zach Martin's in. Starter. I don't see 97. I don't see 98. I don't see 91. No Hufanga back here. So second team. And what happens? All right, honestly, this is a great job by Oren Burks just to bait Dak. But this offense has no imagination at all. Double slants? So line concept, double slants. This is what you call when you don't want to put a lot on your quarterback's plate. And it sounds like I'm talking down on Dak. I think he's actually a very good quarterback, but this was not a good game by him by any measure. And the fact that he just auto threw this without acknowledging the linebacker kind of tells you where his headspace was in this game. But this was the game, right? This was the game that the 49ers were going to get exposed. I thought the Cowboys would score 20 plus. Didn't come close. They scored once in the first half, and they had that field goal in the second half. And honestly, the majority of their drives just weren't even competitive. The 49ers took it to them, and I think this is going to really build some confidence and get the ball rolling for the defense that a lot of us expected. Like, first of all, they were expected to take a step back this season. Like, they were just number one across the board last year. Even if they remained in the top 5 this year, like that would have been perfect considering what the offense is doing, what the offense was expected to do. So now the 49ers are, like, they look like a top 5 unit. So hopefully they can keep this up. I think with the schedule, at least next week, the Browns, they shouldn't form too big of a test. Justin Jefferson, he's not going to play for the Vikings. So the next real test probably comes in Jacksonville, and that's after the bye. So it'll be on the road. It won't be easy. But I think they have a chance to build some momentum over these next 2 weeks. But, I mean, all around, yeah, you got Warner looking like a Hall of Famer. Pass rush is still the pass rush. And hopefully Randy Gregory is able to give him that 4th rusher there. So that'll be interesting to see, especially against a Browns team. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment. Let me know what you want to see next. Subscribe, of course. I'll try to get more videos out. It makes it a lot easier when they are playing like this. Look at this. Like, these are the backups. I mean, yeah, I know it's second team on second team, but that's Jair Brown. That is A guy who we don't even talk about. They don't even play their third rounder because Tayshaun Gibson's playing so well. But that's what you want to see.